There's definitely a pretty vocal group who say that you can't make songs with a modular, or that it's just not worth using. And I've not set out to refute it, but I got into this with the intention of making music and eventually performing songs live. Something being harder to achieve doesn't equate to being impossible to me, and if people are saying that we shouldn't do it, it's probably just confirming that it's the exact thing that we should be doing.
We scaffold around the frames of our failed lives and hope.
You'd expect there to be a learning curve. I've dedicated over half my life so far to songwriting and guitar, and I wouldn't expect to just pick up a friggin' saxophone and write the next Baker Street, and similarly I just knew that this would take time. You have to learn the fundamentals of the format, and to be honest, a bit more about electronics than I was expecting. But I'm probably 2 or 3 years in at this point, and I'm only really just getting a case that somewhat resembles what I set out to achieve. It's in part because you have to be patient and you have to save to try things. It's not accessible, but again, that's something I like.
No good, I saw you when I looked at you. Let go of bygones we've been holding on to.
There's always compromise in art. It's really frustrating, but it's usually what leads to those breakthrough moments in your career, and I don't think that would have amalgamated genres or landed on these compositions without it. It's been about playing to the strengths of this instrument, and I've had to rehash the case to lean on more wavetable synthesis and voices with modulation, things like that. I just found that these things, they didn't sound as organic in the door, but the sort of recognised strengths of the modular, and it just makes sense to just centre things around it. Initially I was separating drum voices and it used up loads of HP, and it just wasn't turning out the sort of sound I was after. And plus I just really wanted to use a lot of older sounds from my older drum machines. I had this really romantic idea in my head of all analog too, and one case, analog voices, polyphony, all these desirables, and there just had to be some give and take, and I had to hone in on what was necessary for me to make what I wanted to make. I think I had that apple on the head moment by just leaning into the things that were cliche. I put rings into beads, which is almost like a comedy sketch in the community to me at this point, but I was thinking, can I get something new out of something that's been done to death? And that's what's exciting in itself. There's been times where I've been like writing for days and then just deleted full songs, and it seems counterintuitive, but it's too easy to just write and presume everything that you write is amazing. But if you add like a restriction of storage to your sequencer, all of a sudden you're saying, is that song even worthy of a save slot? And it's a pretty powerful tool in itself when you think about it. It's not going to be for everyone, and it's not easy to achieve, but it's a journey, and everyone's songwriting process will just look entirely different. And to me, that equates nicely with the idea of modular instruments, because they can just be tailored to your workflow and what you need to structure compositions. And as my workflow evolves, so does this instrument. Join the Patreon for one-to-one video chats, help with your case or music, Patreon meets, digital goodies and more.